The power of inspiring others. Our education system desperately needs an overhaul. In China, many teachers were once students considered less talented. It seemed absurd to me to expect an educational revolution when those teaching weren't seen as the best, but I came to realize that being a good teacher isn't about being the top student. At Hangzhou Teachers College, I learned that teaching is about inspiring, motivating, and helping others believe in themselves. Being a teacher shaped me both professionally and as a person. I learned that education isn't about standardizing people, it's about empowering them. Every student is unique, and a teacher's role is to help them discover their own potential. This diversity of thought is our greatest strength. If we treat education like a factory, we'll produce machines, not creative and innovative human beings. My educational journey wasn't about simply gaining knowledge. It was about learning to turn failures into lessons. This mindset has defined my leadership. True success isn't about how quickly you get there, but about the perseverance you show along the way. Failure is temporary, but learning is eternal. Beyond degrees, the true purpose of education. Often ask high school students in China, "What's your hobby? What do you want to do in the future?" Most of them say, "I don't know, I just want to go to a good university." When I ask why, they give the same answer, "I don't know. I just want to go to university." This is a huge problem. Many students believe a university degree guarantees a job. But in my 20 years at Alibaba, we found that most university graduates need significant retraining. A degree is not a job guarantee. I firmly believe that teachers can change lives. My own education showed me how much a teacher's attitude matters. For example, my English teacher wasn't originally trained in English, she was a math teacher. But due to a shortage, she was assigned to teach us. I'll never forget the moment she said, "Jack, your pronunciation is better than mine." That simple bit of encouragement from someone who was also learning ignited a confidence I didn't know I had. It showed me how a few words of support can spark a person's spirit. In stark contrast, there was my chemistry teacher. He didn't like me, and the feeling was mutual. I just couldn't connect with the subject, and his coldness made it worse. He never believed in my potential, and it affected me deeply. This experience taught me something crucial. The student-teacher relationship is fundamental to academic success. When a teacher invests emotionally in their students, showing trust and support, the impact goes far beyond grades. Success comes from the belief you inspire in others. Teachers are not just sources of knowledge, they are emotional mentors. The ones who encourage their students to overcome challenges are the ones who truly shape futures. Good teachers don't just teach subjects, they teach persistence, emotional resilience, and self-belief. This is just as true in the business world. Success rarely comes from knowing everything technically, but from believing you can learn, adapt, and grow. It's often the most unlikely teachers who have the biggest impact. My English teacher, who was learning the language herself, became one of the most significant influences in my life. She didn't have the best education, but she had passion and dedication. This taught me that while the content a teacher delivers is important, their ability to connect, motivate, and inspire is what truly defines their impact. This understanding has shaped my view of leadership. A good leader, like a good teacher, must trust their team. The true role of a leader is to inspire others to be better, to overcome their own limitations, and to believe in their potential. After all, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. From standardization to differentiation. During the industrial age, everything was about standardization, but in the age of AI, we need differentiation. We want to make everyone different in a good way. The real fairness in education is to differentiate. To ensure every child gets the specific education they need to become the best version of themselves. I've always thought a school should be like a zoo with all kinds of animals. This is what I aimed for in my company. I would hate to turn my company into a farm full of chickens or ducks. I want all kinds of people, all of them versatile. Embrace failure. Your greatest teacher. Failure is an inevitable part of life, but for many it's an insurmountable obstacle. I believe it's just the beginning of something greater. When I think of my own journey, I remember being rejected by companies 30 times. One of the most memorable rejections was from KFC. Out of 24 applicants, 23 were accepted. I was the only one turned down. While this would be devastating for many, I saw it differently. Every no I received was preparing me for the next challenge. Failure has always been my greatest teacher. This mindset of seeing failure as an opportunity is something young people need to learn. The world is changing fast and challenges are constant. Teaching new generations to be resilient and adaptable is more important than ever. Failure isn't an end, it's a chance to reassess, learn, and grow. When we fail, we discover our weaknesses and are forced to find ways to overcome them. This ability to get up after a fall is what sets true innovators and leaders apart. I always say, if you have a dream, you will never feel poor. I truly believe this, no matter how difficult the situation. If you have a clear dream and are willing to work toward it, failure is just a step along the way. Many young people today are obsessed with avoiding failure, but true growth comes from accepting and embracing it. Failure is an instructor, not an enemy. It's a door that, when opened, reveals new opportunities. Every rejection I faced was a push in the right direction. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Looking back, each failure led me to something greater, something I wouldn't have achieved without those difficulties. That's why when I talk to young entrepreneurs, I stress the importance of dealing with failure productively. Failure doesn't define who you are, but how you respond to it does. Teaching new generations not to fear failure is actually preparing them for success. When we stop seeing failure as negative and start treating it as a valuable lesson, we open the door to true innovation. Every obstacle can be a stepping stone to something even greater, but only if we have the courage to keep trying. Preparing for a future of change. The world is changing at an unprecedented pace. Technology is advancing rapidly, and with it, the demands of the job market are shifting. When I look at the next generation, especially the children in schools, I wonder what kind of future we're preparing for them. It's estimated that in the next 20 years, 50% of the jobs we have today will no longer exist. This is a frightening reality, but it's also a huge opportunity. We need to teach children to be creative, adaptable, and above all, to think independently. Unfortunately, our current education system still operates like a production line, creating standardized students as if they were all meant to play the same role. But I've always believed education should be more like a zoo, where each animal is different and has its own unique abilities. We need to encourage a diversity of thought and ideas. Creativity will be one of the most valued skills in the future, and we need to start cultivating it early. Today's children will face a world completely different from ours, and the greatest gift we can give them is the ability to reinvent themselves. The future will bring many challenges, especially with the rise of new technologies, but that shouldn't scare us. If we teach children how to cope with change and prepare them for a world where adaptability is a vital skill, they will succeed. The future of education isn't about transmitting information, it's about teaching students to think for themselves and to question the world around them. We need a new educational model, one that values innovation, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. When I think about the future of work, I see that technical skills alone won't be enough. Machines and AI will handle much of the technical work, but what they can't do is empathize, create, or dream. That's why we need to invest in emotional education. Teaching children to manage their emotions and work well with others will be essential. The future belongs to those who know how to collaborate, innovate, and create solutions that machines could never conceive. What worries me isn't the technology itself, but how we're preparing children for this future. Are we giving them the right tools? Are we teaching them the importance of adaptability, creativity, and collaboration? The future depends on our ability to adjust how we educate the next generation. The challenge is before us, and we must ask ourselves, are we ready to face it? Alibaba Intelligence, where humans and AI meet. When we started developing technology at Alibaba, we didn't call it artificial intelligence, we called it Alibaba Intelligence. We knew from the beginning that if something could be done with logic, machines would do it better than us, but at the same time, I always knew that machines could never replace certain human qualities like creativity, love, or emotions. They might be great at spotting patterns and solving logical problems, but when it comes to genuine innovation, that's an area where humans will always be ahead. Leadership as teaching, inspiring growth. Through my journey at Alibaba, I've always seen myself as a chief education officer more than a CEO. To me, leadership and teaching are two sides of the same coin. A great teacher wants their students to be better than them, and a great leader must inspire their team to achieve more than they ever could. It's not about controlling everything or having all the answers, it's about trusting and empowering people to be their very best. I still remember when my venture capitalist told me I should give my CEO job to someone else. Because I didn't know how to be a CEO, I just smiled and didn't listen. Later, I realized he was partly right. I didn't know how to be a CEO in the traditional sense. But then it hit me, I was a good CEO precisely because I was, first and foremost, a teacher. My main function was to trust and teach my team, not just to command them. This philosophy has defined my leadership style. A leader's job isn't to be the smartest person in the room, but to make others feel empowered and capable of achieving great things. At Alibaba, I never wanted to be a boss who made all the decisions. I've always believed that when you trust people, they become more committed and creative, and that trust is what fuels innovation. When I lead my team, I like to think I'm planting seeds of trust, innovation, and courage. Just as a teacher wants to see their students reach new heights, I want to see my team create things we never could have imagined. Leadership, for me, is about inspiring people to be better than they ever thought they could be. If there's one lesson I've learned, it's that trust is the foundation of strong leadership. You can't do everything yourself, and you shouldn't try. The success of a company lies in how you inspire and empower those around you. After all, leadership isn't about being the best, it's about making others better. Teamwork, the Chinese football example, it's always fascinated me. How education can shape not just minds but entire societies. Take sports, for example. We have over 1 billion people in China. Yet our national football team struggles to beat the Maldives, a country of about 400,000 people. This makes me wonder, where are we going wrong? A big part of the answer is that our education still doesn't focus enough on teamwork and collaboration. In China, we excel at individual sports like table tennis, but we struggle with team sports. This points to a deeper issue. Our education system is focused on individual performance, on grades, and on being the best on your own, but in the real world, especially in business, collaboration will be an essential skill for the future. We need to teach our children to work as a team, to trust each other, and to tackle challenges together. Physical education and sports are crucial for developing these skills. They teach us about teamwork, resilience, and overcoming obstacles. These lessons go far beyond the field and apply directly to business and personal growth. If we want to prepare our young people for the future, we must value emotional and physical education just as much as academic subjects. Looking ahead, I realize that true success won't just depend on technical skills or academic knowledge. It will come from the ability to collaborate and face challenges with others. And this can only be learned through real-world experience. We need to transform our schools into places where children learn not only math and science but also the art of working together. If we can embed the spirit of collaboration into education from an early age, we will create a generation of innovators and leaders who not only know how to solve problems, but also how to do it as a team, and that will be the real differentiator. The future of work, empathy, creativity, and connection as automation and artificial intelligence advance. One thing is becoming crystal clear: machines can do many things better than we can. They can calculate faster, process more data, and identify patterns with incredible precision. But there's one thing they'll never be able to do: feel empathy, compassion, or creativity. These are the qualities that define us as human, and in the future, these skills will set us apart in the job market. That's why I believe emotional education is just as important as technical education. We need to teach young people to understand and manage their emotions, to work well with others, and to develop empathy. These are the skills that will make them successful in a world increasingly dominated by technology. If machines can handle repetitive tasks, humans will need to focus on areas that require creativity and emotion. I remember a student from my teaching days who was brilliant at math, but struggled to relate to others. He always wanted to do everything himself and couldn't collaborate on group projects. After working with him for a long time, I realized the key wasn't to teach him more math but to help him develop his emotional intelligence. Once he began to understand the importance of working on a team and valuing other people's opinions, he absolutely flourished. Emotional intelligence will be the currency of the future. As technical tasks become more automated, human beings with the ability to innovate, create, and connect with others will be the most valuable. We need to prepare the next generations for this. Our education system shouldn't just teach science and math, it needs to help children understand the value of empathy and collaboration. If we want our children to thrive in the future, we need to give them the right tools. And those tools aren't just laptops and calculators, they're the emotional skills that will help them navigate an increasingly complex and interconnected world. The future belongs to those who know how to create, collaborate, and feel. Adaptability, the constant in a changing world. In the business world, one of the most valuable lessons I've learned is the importance of adaptability. Things change fast: trends, technologies, and customer expectations. The ones who can adapt to these changes are the ones who succeed. Entrepreneurship is a constant process of adjustment and reinvention. If you're not willing to change, you'll be left behind. When we started Alibaba, we had no idea how the e-commerce market would change over the years. All we knew was that we had to be ready for anything. We had to change our plans multiple times, adjust our strategies, and sometimes completely rethink our approach. But it was this flexibility that allowed us to grow and thrive in such a competitive environment. Adaptability is a skill that benefits both companies and individuals. People who are willing to keep learning, rethink their goals, and adjust their plans are the ones who will be most successful in the future. The world is changing rapidly and opportunities arise for those who know how to adjust. If you want to stand out, you have to be willing to change not just your strategies, but your mindset. Looking back, the greatest opportunities I took advantage of were those that forced me to adapt to a new reality. It wasn't easy. We often resist change because it's uncomfortable, but that discomfort is precisely what pushes us to the next level. I've learned that adaptability is a skill we can develop over time. It's about opening your mind to new possibilities and being willing to learn from every challenge. If you want to be successful in the future, you have to prepare for change. Those who can adapt quickly will have the best opportunities. The world will never stop changing, and it's up to us to decide how we respond. Ultimately, success belongs to those who can reinvent themselves. Collaboration, the engine of achievement. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that no great achievement is a solitary effort. When we started Alibaba, I knew that for the company to succeed, we would need to work as a united team. I've seen many companies fail because their leaders didn't encourage collaboration. A leader can have great ideas, but without a team that executes them with passion and commitment, those ideas will go nowhere. At Alibaba, I always encouraged my team to share their ideas and work together to overcome challenges. Teamwork isn't just about sharing tasks, it's about sharing a common vision. When everyone is aligned around a greater goal, work flows more efficiently, and the results are much bigger. At the end of the day, a company's success is a reflection of the strength of its team. I remember saying to my employees, if not now, when? If not us, who? That simple phrase always kept us focused on teamwork and the importance of acting together. In the business world, collaboration is essential because the challenges we face are too complex for one person to solve. Teamwork allows us to combine different perspectives, talents, and skills to create innovative solutions. The true value of a strong team lies in trust. When you trust others and know you can count on them, barriers fall and possibilities expand. This mutual trust builds a culture of collaboration and success. Over the years, I've seen that companies that truly promote teamwork are the ones that achieve the most sustainable and long-lasting results. Ultimately, what I've learned is that success is always a collective effort. When we work together, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve our greatest goals. Collaboration, mutual respect, and the desire to achieve something bigger than ourselves are the real ingredients for success. Education for all, a foundation for the future. Education has the power to transform lives, and I strongly believe it should be accessible to everyone, no matter where they come from. That's why, through the Jack Ma Foundation, we are dedicated to improving education in rural areas of China and other parts of the world. I believe education is not just a right, but an essential tool for human development and for overcoming inequality. When I visit rural areas in China and see children who don't have access to quality education, I feel a huge sense of responsibility. These children have just as much potential as anyone else, but they often don't get the opportunities they need to flourish. Education is the path for them to have a better future, and it is our duty to ensure that everyone has access to it. What many people don't realize is that by investing in education, we are investing in the future of our societies. Every educated child is one more person who can contribute to economic growth, innovation, and solving the great problems we face as humanity. We cannot let geographical location or social status be obstacles to personal and professional development. Remember when I started Alibaba? Many people said it would be impossible for an e-commerce company to succeed in China, especially in more remote areas. But I've always believed that if you give people the right tools and knowledge, they can do anything. The same goes for education. If we give children the right tools and support, they will have the power to change their own lives and the lives of their communities. Education should be a priority for all of us. It's not just about teaching school subjects. It's about opening doors to the future by ensuring education is accessible to everyone. We are building a world where every person has the chance to reach their full potential. I is a tool, protecting humanity's core. At Alibaba, using technology and artificial intelligence has been key to our success. We developed Alibaba Intelligence to manage our operations, especially in the fight against fraud. Machines are incredibly efficient at identifying patterns and performing logical tasks. They can do jobs that require a precision far greater than humans could ever achieve. However, I've always believed that AI is a tool, not a substitute for human beings. Machines can do many things better than us, but there are some things they will never replace. Creativity, empathy, and innovation are intrinsically human qualities, and it is these qualities that will set us apart in the future. As AI becomes more common across various industries, It will be essential to use it to increase our efficiency without losing our humanity. One area where AI shines is fraud detection. At Alibaba, we use AI to monitor millions of transactions in real time and identify suspicious patterns. This has allowed us to protect our customers and ensure secure transactions. However, the real innovation within Alibaba has always come from people, from their ability to think outside the box and find creative solutions to complex problems. In the future, AI will continue to transform many industries, but we need to ensure it is used responsibly and ethically. AI's role is to help humans, not replace them. We also need to make sure the next generations are prepared to work alongside machines, developing skills that machines cannot replicate. If we can find the right balance between using technology and preserving human skills, the future will be bright. But it's up to us to ensure that artificial intelligence is used in a way that benefits everyone. Every child a startup. The entrepreneurial spirit. Every child, when they come into the world, is essentially building their own business. A startup? It's a startup where you learn to work with others, to solve problems, and to get support and help. I think the kind of people we become, the kind of lives we lead, and the kind of future we create are all shaped by education. The education we're doing today is designing the future of human beings, and the people of today are designing the education of tomorrow. So, my first job was a teacher, and I hope my last job is working with all of you on education. I'm just an amateur, but I want to learn. I want to learn from you. I want to debate with you. And by working together, let's find a solution for the future. Thank you so much.